Right now, the plan in place simply ain't working. So are you for or against these Lime scooters?
So I think it's good to have us out and about in the city and having different modes for transportation, like New York, if we're trying to grow our city. I mean, we definitely need to grow in that way in terms of having options, because I feel like there's so many people on the roads. The traffic is getting worse and worse here in Chicago, and it's like at every single time and day. It's no longer rush hours. Rush hours 24/7. And so if there's another option, it could be cool.
Yeah, I mean, to your point, we spend our lives in our car in Los Angeles, and so I think it's such a good excuse to get outside. However, right now, it is the Wild West for these scooters. We've got Lime, and there's another brand called Bird, and they're all over Venice Beach and then even moving inland.
So by Wild West, you mean like it's chaotic?
I mean, they're like, my boyfriend is walking our dog, and there's a scooter that blows by and almost hits
20
him.
miles per hour.
And like, people don't follow the rules with the scooters at all. So I think once we get some rules in place, and once they're not just thrown all over random sidewalks, because they are all over scattered over the sidewalks, I think that it's going to be a really, really good thing. It's just right now, it's it's kind of out of control.
Yeah, and it's kind of like, what's the lesser of the two evils? It'll decrease traffic because people won't be using cars as much, you would think. But again, they're in the bike paths with bikers who are already can be a deterrent on the roads. I happen to be one of the cyclists that occasionally uses that as my mode of transportation to and from work. But you have to be respectful of the cars on the road, and for the most part, bikers are, which is great, but some aren't. And with these scooters, there's no literature on how they should behave. How they should behave as they move through. They're fighting bikers. They're fighting cars, and it is new. And then when you walk the sidewalks, as we saw them all over this weekend, they're just kind of everywhere. So it's clutter, and it's an eyesore for our city too. And the plan is just workers go pick these things up at the end of the day. Like,
that's a really good point. We got to get if we do this, we have to get a quick city ordinance, because the bikers, I mean, you said they're not that bad. In my opinion, it's out of control.
Well, you don't want them coming after you on social media, because there's a lot of them. So I'm going to watch what I say.
But I'm going to be real, though. When we're talking about safety, I'm going to keep it real. Like, there's so many bikers that they do not follow the rules. They run red lights, they weave in and out of traffic. That's not the rules of the road. That's not the law, and people are dying because of it.
You can find her at Felicia Lawrence on Twitter.
I'm ready. If you're one of those bikers that breaks the law, I am ready. Bring it on.
You're brave.
I passed the Illinois graduated driver's licensing program with flying colors.
Here are the 7 things you shouldn't do if you want to remain friends with an ex. Felicia's already side-eyeing me on this list. So let's get right into it. We're going to break it down in 2 parts here. So first, don't invade their space. You do not want to invade an ex's space. Don't try to get back together. Don't have sex occasionally. Don't focus on the past. So let's digest those first 4 right there. Any issues with that? Or is it not even feasible at all?
Yeah, don't do it. Don't do it.
Not even if you pay attention to the list.
I'm never a supporter of this, because here's what happens. People, when they break up, they're like, oh, we're going to be friends. And they continue to act the same way that they acted before. You got to have room to breathe, to live your own life. If you don't treat that friend like every other friend in your list, then it's not going to work.
I think this list may be conducive to helping it work. What do you think?
Maybe those seem super obvious to me. Don't have sex occasionally if you want to just remain friends.
But that's what every ex. That's what everybody does with an ex. So at some point, for the most part.
Do it?
Yes.
I don't know.
Or if you're talking every day. No.
I get it. You want to be friends with the ex, but you really can't be friends with somebody until you don't have feelings for each other any longer. So I think step 1 needs to be fully remove yourself from each other's lives, even if it's hard. Just push through and then
dead weight,
and then decide how you feel.
Stubbornly, let me try the last 3 here on the list to see if you guys will come on over to the other side here. Don't share intimate details with them. So keep them at an arm's length. That makes sense. Don't share details about them with others. Don't bring them as a date to any events. So it seems like it's saying, hey, you can be friends with this ex, but at a arm's length. You wanted to say something else to this.
I think you just have to decide why you want that person in your life at that point. You know, like, you know them so well, of course you want to stay close, but why? And also, once one of you starts dating someone else, that's going to really complicate it and probably be super inappropriate. I don't know that your current boo or whatever would like really like that. I don't know.
Yeah, and I think it's look, it's everybody's different how you want to move through these things. You know, Prince Harry had some of his exes at his wedding to Meghan Markle, famously.
And she should have shut it down.
As it was discussed. He's the royal.
Those names will be scratched off the list right before. I've run with a pen right before, and they'll be like, "Who? No, we don't have you."
I think everybody at some point has this issue in their when they get into a new relationship is the baggage from exes and how do you handle them. And I went through that in the infancy of my relationship to who's now my fiance is dealing with exes. And I think if you're doing that, you're fueling one of two things. You're trying to hold on to something to feed your ego, or you're crossing that line and you're still engaging in intimacy. And for me, I realized I was trying to feed a part of my ego that you got to put away to fully embrace what you're in. And even if you're not in that new relationship, just yet still, the great ones always know when to walk away.
Yeah.
Walk away from something when it's over. You walked away from it for a reason.
So mature.
I try.
Therapy with Jordan.
Fake it till you make it. All right. Well, is anybody surprised by this trend?
I'm surprised that someone actually did a study on this and they came out with these specific results. But it would be something I would think my friends would say.
Carly, you got an interesting take on this one.
All right. So as somebody who isn't currently trying to get a ring, I've been in a relationship for 6 years. We're super happy. We're just not trying to make that step. I just don't think it's important at all. And I think that everyone would like to say that. But to some people, the ring is so important. And I think first and foremost, you have to focus on the relationship.
Yeah.
You have to, if you have a good relationship, if you have a good friendship, if you're great companions, if you're meant to be together, the ring should be such an afterthought.
You would have saved me so much money if you become friends with my fiance a few months back. I think it's a truly interesting conversation, having been a guy who just went through this, the whole dance and nuance of getting the perfect ring that fits the perfect woman in your life. And there's a big part of it that feels incredibly trivial. I'm not going to lie to you. But I also got to be fully honest and say there's a superficiality in men that doesn't seem to be discussed in a lot of this. And men also want to put something on that woman's hand that makes people go, oh, that guy is all right, man. Check out
like making money wise?
Yeah, it is. And not even maybe that you're making a lot of money, but just that you've really, for lack of a better word, invested, because it's not a piece of property that you're like, but invested in that thing that you're putting on their hand to show, it's a declaration of love, and it's measured now, and I hate that that's where it's at in the world today. It's a shame.
The other side of the study said the uglier the man, the bigger the ring.
That's so true, though. I mean, every time you see
so sad.
But think about it. Every time you see a guy and he's with a woman, and you're like, wow, and it happens way more with a less attractive man being with a more attractive woman. There's always a huge ring, and you always look to that first. You're like, wait a second, let me see her hand. Oh, it makes sense.
She went with the ugly guy because they're sitting on that wallet.
I can't.
Are you surprised? Are you surprised by any of it, though? You're not surprised by it.
I mean, I know that this is something that's important to certain people, and I don't even think it's wrong to want to have a big ring if that's what you want and you're upfront about it. But for those reasons, it just makes me really sad.
But that's what I mean. People want big cars and big houses, big rings. Like that's the society we live in.
Yeah.
That's what people want.
Is it going to make you happy at the end of the day?
People want shoes and bags and.
It's a great point because you're not going to die with that ring on your finger, and if you are, it's not going to mean anything to you when your life is over. And I truly believe this. Your approach, Carly, may not be mainstream, but I'd be more willing to bet on a relationship like that.
Yes.
Over one that's, this isn't going to work unless I have that $75,000 rock on my hand that I can show off to everybody. If that's what you're invested in, well, that investment's not going to take you very far, and the return on that investment is not going to be great. Yeah. And I do think the person that is in it for the love and not for the show of love in a world where Instagram is the thing that tries to show your best life when people are living a real life behind it, I'd bet on your relationship. So.
Yeah.
So
your guy also picked a good one because he's going to save a lot of money.
I know.
The summation is we want it all.
We want it all. Mine is experiences and relationships over things.
Hey.
So if there was 5 carats sitting here, you're saying you're not going to take it?
No, I wouldn't say no to it. It's just not something that I would demand to be a certain size.
But
Felicia,
we got it. I got it.
We can talk more about this later.
She's not saying no. It's just I got it.